Hi, everyone. Welcome to our second virtual What's Brewin. Today with me, I have some of our IVMF and community of practice teams here to learn more about the community of practice and kind of how they're adjusting with the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're going to kick it off with Lindsay, and everyone's going to say who they are and who they're with to kind of give us a lowdown on where they are and how they tie into the community of practice. So Lindsay, can you start off by telling us what the community of practice is and how it relates to the IVMF and our community-based services?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Vanessa. So my name is Lindsay Hopkinson. I manage our communities of practice here at the IVMF. And so our communities of practice within the America Serves team are working together with all of our networks across the country and bringing them together to be able to share best practices and learning across all of those platforms. We gather on a monthly basis to talk about themes and topics that are of interest and relative to serving veterans and their families and their communities. And then also operate on a regional basis where we have practice champions within that region that lead their coordination centers and providers within that region. For instance, we've got ServingTogether with us here today. They are the practice champions for the Mid-Atlantic region, which encompasses the DC capital region, and then Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Southampton Roads area. So that is essentially the community of practice in a nutshell.
Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about how with the pandemic, we kind of shifted how we communicate information with the community of practice?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we started this new year in January, we had kind of shifted our effort a little bit with the community of practice and had developed a really nice organized calendar to be able to talk about different themes and stuff throughout the year. And then March happened and the pandemic, and needed to adjust the way that we were approaching absolutely everything. Our meetings were already happening virtual anyways. So that didn't really shift. It was more so how we were engaging our communities and really taking a better understanding of what impact they were having on not only our coordination centers mostly being virtual, but also their providers and what we were able to offer them in terms of support that way, and how to be able to share best practices across the board that way. So our first meeting since the pandemic was in March, and that was really just kind of a check-in and using that to bring more information to them on how veterans are being served. And then in April, we had Military Child Education Coalition on. We talked about military children, and then also how they're impacted by COVID. And then this month, we had a great conversation with a dual fellow in the Elizabeth Dual Foundation to talk about military caregivers on a national basis, and then also how they were being impacted by the pandemic. But also wanted to invite the ServingTogether team to talk about kind of how they've had to shift and within the community of practice, and kind of how that's been helpful to them too. That's okay.
Thanks, Lindsay. My name is Amsa Heck, and I'm the director of the Serving Together program, which is a program of Every Mind and part of the community of practice with IVMF. And, when our region shut down, we shifted virtually almost overnight. So we did not have a huge change in how we delivered our programs and in the quality of the programming, the frequency, the reaching out to our providers and convening our community of practice clients, as well as I mentioned before, providers. So that was, our major shift, that everything that we did in person before became virtual, and we were able to just continue the work. And we saw a greater need for the work across all of the coordination centers, which also went virtual as their region shut down due to COVID.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, and then if you guys want to touch how you guys are actually helping with providers and military families now that you have gone virtual, and some examples.
A lot of our providers changed the way they work during the pandemic. Some providers lost their ability to deliver resources. Some pivoted their resources to meet the increasing challenges that we saw in food, employment, and housing, and that we continue to see across the board. One of the biggest things for us internally after going completely virtual was restructuring our team. We implemented a multi-tiered approach to communicating with our providers, our community, our stakeholders. And we focused on really clear and targeted messaging around some of the topics that Lindsay covered and of practice calls that we've had so that we can deliver the best resources to the community at large. And also to make sure that we're staying on top of how our providers are changing fundamentally due to COVID. And I'm going to let Christy take it from here on some of the other changes that we made across the board in our other areas of programming.
Yes, hi there. So I'm Christy Kennedy. I am a senior manager for Serving Together, a program of Every Mind. I've been with the organization for almost 4 years now. I'm a military spouse myself. I'm very passionate about serving the military and veteran space. So a little bit about some of the things that we've had to kind of shift and pivot. And as kind of Amsa mentioned, we already were doing a lot of things virtually, but we really needed to shift a lot of our events, our collaborative meetings that we have in the local national capital region to virtual formats. So we're using Zoom, we're using Teams, GoToMeetings, all kinds of online virtual channels. But the nice thing that we actually saw was an increase of participation in a lot of our community of practice network within the local region. We've seen more organizations be able to join us online that wasn't always able to attend our in-person meetings. And so really through those meetings, we feature topics, speakers at the meeting that really focus on things that are going on with COVID-19 and that impact the military and veteran space. So that has been really pivotal for us to help communicate and really share that strong communication about what's going on for our military and veterans is through our collaboratives, through our events. We are doing lots of emails out to our providers regularly. And we've actually implemented a new bi-monthly refresh training series for our network providers. That really allows the network providers to re-engage with the network, help them understand the Unite Us platform that we use, help us streamline referrals between our partner organizations much better so that they can get veterans to the needed resources much more quickly. And so that really helps to involve this community of practice, not only here at the local level, but also the regional level and then the national level that Lindsay's team is really heading up. So locally, we're doing a lot of things, but also Serving Together serves as the regional community of practice champion for the Mid-Atlantic, as Lindsay mentioned. And what that means is that we work closely with PA Serves out in Greater Pittsburgh. We work with Southampton Roads, the Mission United team down there, as well as our team locally here at Serving Together to offer training opportunities. And so that means that we put on topics that our providers want and need to be able to better serve the military and veteran population. So we have actually announced today an upcoming event that we're holding on June 11th called Invisible Wounds of Military Service, the Impact of Military Sexual Trauma. So we're partnering with Warrior Centric Healthcare Foundation to offer that training for our Mid-Atlantic partners. But really our partners across all of the United States that run these America Serves coordinated networks run similar type of training events. And it really helps on that regional level for us to understand our communities, understand what they're needing to really better professionally develop their providers to better serve our military and veteran space. So again, we constantly offer those types of events, and really right now we're having to shift all of them virtually, which gives us the capability to serve people all over the National Capital Region, Pittsburgh, the Southampton Roads and beyond to attend those events. So that's kind of some of the things that we're working on, and then really just making sure that we share clear communication out to all of our providers, to our clients on what's going on and how we can serve them. And yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell some of the communication tactics that we're really working on.
That's all really great. You guys are doing great work down there. Mary Rachel, could you kind of tell us how data plays a role in the work we do with the community of practice?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Mary Rachel Kevel. I'm a Research and Analytics Fellow for the America Serves program. So my role is primarily to do data analytics and reporting for all the America Serves programs. So in the community of practice, data can provide enhancements to the topics that we discuss on the monthly calls. So primarily it serves to help our participants understand the impact that they and we as a whole serves program have on the topic that we might be discussing at the time. So perfect example is our last call, we talked about military and veteran caregivers. So pulling out some data of how serves can serve those particular subsets of clients was really helpful in understanding how we approach them and what we could do to improve services to those subsets of clients. The data can also pair with presentations that we have from guest speakers, so we can give participants kind of a larger worldview of what's going on in that particular topic. So if it's military caregivers, military children, mental health issues, anything that we care to discuss, we can get a larger worldview of what's going on, and then also pair that with a program view of the topic. So, we can see what's out there, we can see what we do, and we can see what we as a program can reach for. That is a lot of what data does to help support the community of practice.
That's great. Thank you. So can you, Lindsay, tell us how somebody who might want to connect with the community of practice can do so?
Sorry. So the community of practice, like I said, we are, the whole goal of the community of practice is a group of practitioners that are here for the same common purpose, and that is serving veterans and military connected families in their communities. Excuse me, open for all. And if you're interested in the community practice or learning more, I definitely encourage you to reach out to me for more information. And then we've got a lot of great things that are coming up within the community of practice next week. Look for an announcement. We'll be announcing our scholarship recipients. We just had a scholarship where our coordination centers and our providers were able to submit an application for awarding 2 scholarships in honor of one of our coordination center staff members who passed a couple of years ago in honor of him. So a really great opportunity to be able to provide some professional development and quality improvement to 2 different entities. So we're excited to be able to announce that next week. So stay tuned for that. And like I said, a lot of great things coming out of the community practice with great teammates like those at Everymind and the rest of the coordination centers across the country.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining us today. It's good to learn more about the community of practice and what you do all over the country. And that's what's brewing at the IVMF, in service to those who serve.